All right, traders, welcome to today's recap video. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and today is the day after Christmas. It's December 26th, and market volume, a little bit slower than normal, but, you know, as usual, these days that are like in between holidays or after holidays, they're typically can be pretty fun days to trade, and I think that's what we had today. Real quick, the average is up. The Qs outperformed. They were up almost 1% for the day, so that's Santa Claus rally kicking in today. You also had SPYs, which were up nicely as well, up 50 basis points, 0.5%. Small caps didn't participate today. They basically did nothing all day today. And gold and silver, which have been strong the last 3 or 4 days, which I've been tweeting about lately, also again strong for the day. We're up a lot more than that, especially the miners, the junior miners, as well as the regular gold miners, GDX, as well as the silver ETF, SIL, silver miners, that is, up really strong, up about till midday lunchtime today, and then they kind of gave back some gains. But they've been really hot the last couple days. If you haven't been paying attention to those, really, really strong. The gold mine, anything gold and silver, has really moved decently. So, theme of the day, and by the way, risk disclaimers there. Everything that we're talking about is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. But theme of the day, it continues to be ride the trend. We've talked about that. I feel like I'm blue in the face at this point, but my thought on where this market is going and what it's been doing is that I'm trying to think of a different way to kind of phrase things for the day, but I think it just is what it is. Uh, my take, really quick, is that I'm not going to be able to time the top here. I'm probably going to have one day where I'll be down, and that'll be a reversal day. But for now, I'm just not going to guess which day that's going to be. I'm going to try to continue to ride this trend until it goes. I think is also if the Santa Claus rally ends, what is it, the day after New Year's or something like that. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to seasonality, but it does start the day after Christmas. I know that. I think it maybe goes 1 or 2 days past the beginning of the year. But if I'm not like saying like, oh, that's the day I'm going to sell. I'm kind of just continuing to watch price action and continuing to, make sure that I'm just disciplined in my approach and what I'm doing. But the one thing I'll talk about really quick is we've talked about this before, and again, going back to late 2017, early 2018, this trend got crazy, right? I think that's probably one of the last videos I did before the holiday, was just talking about like, okay, we were overbought here, we were overbought here, we were overbought here, we were overbought here. So, but if you would have said, hey, this is overbought, I'm getting out, you would have missed this whole move. So I think that's kind of a similar thing that's going on here. I think, of course, don't want to get long all the way at the top, but just continuing to kind of making sure that you're taking targets, you're taking trades off, you're rolling profits, you're rolling out and up, doing all these things is the way to kind of play. Because I do think at this point it's pretty mature, right? If I had to guess, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think we're probably pretty mature at this point in this upswing. So again, trend of the day, the thought of the day is to basically, continue to try to ride the trend. And again, not be too afraid. Like, if we get a reversal day where we start higher and end up going lower on the day, that's a reversal day. And then, don't chase. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to buy the dip that day. That's the day that you probably have to eat some things. But that day we don't know what day that's going to be, right? And I was even looking today, I saw AMD selling off midday, and the thing came right back. So you know um, we may see some shakeouts like that. All right, so let's talk about some of today's movers. I went over the major indices here on the top left. In the middle, you got consumer discretion. Some different sectors. When's the last time we've seen the FANG ETF or the Internet ETF amongst the leaders of the day? We just haven't had that. And and of course Amazon is the leader in that group, but they all did pretty well today. And then consumer discretionary, which Amazon is how much of that consumer discretionary ETF? I want to say 22%. Let's see what it is. I think it's around there. Amazon is, yeah, 23% if you round up here. 23% of the XLY ETF. So that, of course, giving that a lift for the day, and of course the internet stocks. And if you look at the FANG stocks, I've got them down here. Apple just amazing, just is a machine. Up another almost 2% on the day. Facebook also did pretty well. I think it gave back a little profits at the end of the day, but fine. Google up, and Netflix was the one that performed well last week. Maybe just sitting the party out a little bit today. But again, really strong out of this group. Even if you go down to software names, a lot of growth names performed pretty well today. A lot of these names over a few of these names over 2%. TTD was another one that's over 2%. Shopify making a new high today. But yeah, it continues to be. I'll bring up market breadth here. I mean, look at the market breadth. I mean, so again, one of the things that I've also been talking about is when we get a divergence, maybe seeing the market go up and more decliners than advancers. We're just not seeing that yet, right? So I know it seems like everybody wants to see this, like to be like, aha, we got to, but you know, it's just not there yet. So continue to kind of ride the trend. But I think more and more people are starting to be like a detective trying to figure out like when this market is going to move. Give back some of the gains and so forth. But hey, party on, Wayne. Until that happens. And again, I don't know if that's tomorrow. I don't know if it's one day this week. But the internals remain strong for today. So the big story I think was Amazon for the day. Amazon has been. Let's say, what is Amazon for the year? What's the year to date performance? I just want to see what we got here for performance. This probably was back on the first page here, up 24%. So even that's not bad. What is the S&P up at this point? S&P. I think I have to go to the next page for this one. Year to date is up 31%. So Amazon is, even with today's performance, right? Amazon was up how much today? Let me go back to my spreadsheet. Amazon was up 4.5% today, which was a monster day for Amazon. But maybe this is granted, it's one of the biggest moves for Amazon in some time. I don't know. That might be the biggest. I don't know what this is. This kind of looks like a funky print, but maybe the biggest move since the end of last year. That's kind of what it looks like to me. So could this keep? So my thought is, if you missed Amazon's move today, not a big deal. I put on a trade later in the day, but I think maybe this is the catalyst that can get this thing going. 1931 is a level I'm watching. You could see I've got one of these Venom pivot lines. Notice we went right to here. Also, if you look at this shorter time frames, we took out one VPOC, like a knife going through hot butter. There is another one up here at 1897. Another one at 19. So again, a lot of overhead supply in this name. So if you're kind of in this and you're taking some profits along the way, 1897 would be the next level I see if it continues to rally. So that's 1897, and then you got another one up here at 1931, right? So you've got a couple different places where this thing could get to, but it's nice to see one of the underperformers, because before today the stock was drastically underperforming. The market was only probably up about 19%, which for Amazon that's really unusual. So, and I think a lot of people were saying, hey, when is this thing going to get going? We talked a lot about it in the trading room. I said, hey, I want to see if this thing gets above the 200-day moving average. And obviously we did this all in one day. Sometimes that happens. But I think, it would be great if this thing could actually kind of catch up to the rest of the market for the in the next couple days. So full disclosure, yeah, I put on a what's called a double vertical trade today, long a call spread and short a put spread. I also put this back into our tactical portfolio. I had tried this which is a cash portfolio that I manage and members can follow along. All stocks in it. We've got names like Apple in there. We've got Shopify in there, and we've also have a decent amount of materials in that portfolio now. But I did take a target in Shopify today. Might as well go over to that stock. It's been one of the very, very strong. It did not the best looking candle, but it did make an all-time high today. That happened quickly, didn't it, from that dip? So really nice performance in Shopify. All right, so I could get into some of the option activity. I think the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, yeah, talked about the gold miners, all kinds of call buying in the gold miners the day before Christmas. So this also, it's just funny how this market works is that you don't have to be all in the banks or the industrials or FANG stocks. You could even be in gold miners and doing pretty well. This is the silver miner ETF, which did take out a Virgin point of control. But I mean, look at the performance the last couple days in the silver miners ETF, or even in silver itself. So people kind of left this group for dead, thinking, oh, well, we got risk on. So, the gold miners and silver miners, they're not going to move. Um, you know, but this market has a mind of its own. So, and here's what gold looks like too. I mean, gold's, moving really nicely through this. So it's definitely woken up, gold. So again, you don't have to win the fight of oh, it's going to be gold that outperforms the S&P this year, or S&P is going to outperform gold. Whatever's moving, cover up the symbol if it helps. Let's see, any other things today. Biotech underperformed today in terms of performance. There was a put buyer in biotech today. I think that group is for the time being. I think will be important to watch it, but it kind of seems like it's run its course a little bit. This thing is biotechs have been on such a move. Option activity. Amazon, Lulu. I think these were two plays for the holiday season. Lulu did not make it to 52-week highs, but was definitely strong in the morning. That was my quick day trade. Sometimes I leave a little bit on the table, my day trades. I was into some calls for 70 cents and then out of them for $1.25, which was somewhere in here. I think I could have gotten another target there, but that's fine. Look at this thing kind of come in at the end of the day. Sometimes if you could get a really nice trade off in 15 minutes, I don't know. Why be greedy? I probably, in hindsight, leave that very last piece on, but I was content with it. PayPal. This was at the end of the day. I was joking around on Twitter saying I've been waiting for a breakout like you. This thing is trying. I've been patient in this thing. I got long, I think, somewhere in here. Day traded a little bit, then added it back. So I'm waiting for this to kind of ignite and get above this. Notice how much resistance is at that upside VPOC pivot. So really, once I think we get through this, we've got some daylight ahead for PayPal. Here's another stock that I find really funny. I know some people are fixated on reading the tape. Just to give you a different flavor, as I always try to do. This was a name that was on our watch lists 2 weeks ago. It was in value. But if you are doing your homework, you probably would have found this setup as we did, and maybe set an alert right at the top of value for this breakout. Because if you're just waiting for call activity, this is half of it. This isn't always the story, but somebody coming in for at right before 3 o'clock, right before 3 o'clock, which is all the way up here, and they're buying. I mean, look at the size of this trade, 554,000 notional. Um, Impact on this is 16,000 shares. I don't think anything was crossed here. I will check. Let's see, a bunch of stuff after hours. What time did this trade go up? Um, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, there wasn't anything that was crossed here, so this looks outright. But again, um, just watching the tape, you miss the price action. If you're like waiting for an option to hit the tape for you to go long, I mean, do you want to go long with the stock already up 6%? Or would you find this on your own with this? Would you rather find this stock on your own up, 1% on the day? It's to me, it's a no-brainer. I would rather be in the stock before there's option activity. Now, of course, this isn't always the case. There's not the call buying isn't always late, but a lot of times it is. A lot of times it is. All right, so a few other names that saw call activity today. Snap saw a lot of calls today. Like this was a little bit better because the name wasn't up that much. But I see a VPOC up there at 1647. AUPH saw calls. First Solar saw a lot of calls. SPWH, I think this is an interesting name. Now, again, we're not going to see a big call buyer in this name, but look at the consolidation, right? You think the stock's been on a nice run from 4 to 8? Take a step back, right? This thing was once $13, $14, so it could continue to go more. Speaking of names around that dollar price, anybody see Rite Aid today? Holy cow. Up to $19. This to me looks like a short squeeze. The short interest is around like 26%. And look at the volume since they reported earnings. So I think a lot of shorts are covering. But man, what a move in Rite Aid. ASHR ET, which is one of the MLPs, continues to see call action. I've seen this name a lot. I don't like to establish names on the VPOC takeout. So we'll have to see how this thing is around the 200-day moving average. LSCC, another semi name. Yum saw some calls. Costco also saw a tiny bit of calls. But I think Costco looks pretty interesting here. You could see it's done a lot of digestion since earnings. So you have overhead supply around 298, 299. That would be the bottom of value for the month. And if you could get, then I also see this VPOC up here at 300. So notice it just closed above value at the end of the day. All right, guys, so that's it for today's recap. I'd like to keep these definitely under 20 minutes, but a lot of stuff to talk about, pretty exciting markets. And again, we'll continue to take this trend one day at a time. Have a great night, everybody. See you in the trading room tomorrow morning.